What up with it, baby?
Hey, tell him what you told me.
What I tell you?
What you doing it for?
Oh, promotion, baby.
All right.
What
So
you
I
mean?
ain't gotta
But
him
hey,
up,
but we should spar.
I ain't gotta him up.
We should spar.
Best. I want to show the world that I'm the best. After this fight, I want to be considered top 5 pound for pound fighter in the sport, and I can't wait to show it.
You said this week that you were in for a rude awakening when you get to 140. What do you think he's in for when he goes up against you?
I think he just don't realize how good I am. I think come fight night, he's going to realize that I'm going to take it to another level that he has never seen before. So if he's expecting the Lomachenko, the Josh Taylor fight to happen, it won't be that type of fight. Senior, tell him. We talking to Senior. We ain't talking to little dude over here. Senior,
fight is a different version of me.
I know.
And I love it because even the people out there don't know what they're going to get from me. And that's the beauty about it. He could be studying, he could be doing a lot of things, but he's not going to know till the day of the fight.
Terence Crawford sent a direct and serious message to Teofimo Lopez, making it clear that overlooking Shakur Stevenson would be a dangerous mistake. Crawford stressed that underestimating Shakur's ability, focus, or intelligence inside the ring could lead to serious consequences on fight night.
The sky is the limit with Shakur. No, he got the boxing skills and the ability to, do whatever he wants in the ring. And it's going to be very hard to beat Shakur, with the skills that he possesses and the smarts that he has. And given the opportunity, I think he can pose a great threat to everybody in the division.
I look up to Bud a lot. Honestly, he one of the realest dudes that I done met. He's still a normal person in his head. Like, he don't believe that he's above everyone else. And that's how I feel about myself.
You seen me around a lot.
Oh, no.
Don't act like you ain't seen me around.
Them days.
He said that.
Bud, come on. Terrence talking, I try not to talk back. I try to just listen and
Straight, boom, straight shot. Like right here, boom, there you go. But you gotta make sure you step. Bam. That's when the motherfucker trying to run out.
Crawford went on to explain that Shakur's timing, accuracy, and ring awareness operate at an elite level. He described Shakur as a fighter who builds defensive traps and patiently waits for opponents to make mistakes before responding with sharp, clean counters. Crawford warned that if Teofimo becomes impatient, aggressive, or careless, Shakur has the skill to hurt him and possibly even stop him.
I say all of them. It don't matter who they is. He ready for the big test and the big names, and he's going to do well with each and every one of them.
In a separate moment, Crawford addressed Teofimo Lopez directly, creating a visibly tense exchange. He questioned Teofimo's mental approach and challenged how seriously he was taking Shakur Stevenson as an opponent. The moment felt heavy and uncomfortable, with Crawford making it clear that ignoring Shakur's talent and discipline could have very real consequences inside the ring. Terence Crawford confidently stated that Shakur Stevenson will prove exactly how good he is when the time comes. He explained that Shakur's discipline, timing, defensive control, and mental focus place him in a different category from most fighters. Crawford added that once Shakur performs on the biggest stage, people will finally understand his patience, precision, and control, and why many consider him one of the most complete boxers in the sport today. Crawford also reflected on Shakur's past performances as part of this evaluation.
He was letting his hands go. He was staying in the pocket more. He probably got hit just a little bit too much because he was trying to please everybody that's saying, oh, he can't do this, he can't do that. I talked to him and told him, just be yourself. Just keep winning. And it doesn't matter what the naysayers say and what the people that's having certain agendas against.
Dan Canobio and Chris Algieri analyzed the potential Teofimo Lopez vs. Shakur Stevenson matchup from both a business and boxing standpoint. They explained that Matchroom's involvement with the Joshua event makes a PBC crossover difficult. They suggested that if Teofimo were to lose, Shakur would likely remain at 140 and not return to 135. something that rarely happens. They described the 140-pound division as deep, competitive, and entertaining. They also pointed out that Shakur performs best against aggressive fighters and is challenged most by strong counterpunchers, which limits certain matchups despite fan demand.
Card, so therefore we're not going to put a PBC fighter on it. Anyway, Gary Antoine, I mean, all these fights are good. Like, if Teofimo ends up losing to Shakur, Shakur goes into this mix, and I do think Shakur will stay at 140 for a little bit. So, and you also have
I think he stays from now on. I don't think he goes back to 35.
Yeah, it's very rare we see these guys go down after they go up. You got to add in Shakur. You got to add in Pitbull Cruz. You got to add in Lamont Roach. There's some other good names on 140 as well. But yeah, I would say Smith presents something to this puzzle at 140 is that he's from England and he can sell over there. And if you're Hitchens, who's not the biggest ticket seller here in New York, and you want a unification, you think you can beat Dalton Smith, you might have to go overseas to do it, where you could make a lot more money. Gary Antoine Russell versus Smith stylistically is great. Shakur versus Dalton Smith is stylistically great. Shakur, it's just a fun division.
I don't want to see that.
What?
I don't want to see Shakur and Dalton.
I put that one at like 1% chance of ever happening.
I don't want to see that.
Even though, like, you don't think Smith presents like he's more of like would be the brawler in the Shakur scenario? I know he would be.
Yeah, that's the worst style to fight Shakur. It's the worst style. You have to counterpunch Shakur, just like with De Los Santos. He was the guy who gave Shakur the most trouble.
Zepeda gave Shakur the best, most aesthetically pleasing fight, but not that Smith's going to throw 100 punches around.
Completely different style, though. Zepeda and Dalton aren't. You can't compare them. That's apples and oranges. Yeah, no, I don't know.
But in terms of a guy coming forward.
But is Dalton really...
Analysts also discussed how physical size could play a major role in a Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez fight. Shakur is naturally larger with a longer frame, broader shoulders, and a stronger base. Even though Teofimo currently holds a title at the weight, Shakur's move up has not reduced his strength, control, or balance. His body appears fully settled at 140. The analysts emphasized that size is not only about weight but about leverage, balance, posture, and how effectively a fighter uses mass. Shakur's height, reach, and calm presence allow him to manage distance and control tempo. Teofimo depends more on explosive bursts and power shots, which become harder to land cleanly against a taller, more disciplined defender. If Shakur uses his size to lean, control space, and gradually wear Teofimo down, the dynamic of the fight could change dramatically.
Shakur Stevenson is bigger than Teofimo Lopez. Despite him moving up in weight, and despite Teo being the champion, we got some action. And in this video, I'm going to show and prove and break it down. I'll make it make sense in this video. You got to stay to the end. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Ego Weight Watchers, aka Ill, where I give you a look into the fighter's lifestyle before, after, progress pics, especially when they have an upcoming fight. I warned you, Shakur, I have no idea why he tried to play this game where
Bernie the Boxer offered a detailed explanation of why Shakur Stevenson presents such a difficult challenge for Teofimo Lopez. He emphasized that Shakur cannot be underestimated or easily figured out. Unlike fighters who rely mainly on power or a single strategy, Shakur uses a layered and adaptable approach. He blends technical skill with strategic thinking, making him unpredictable and difficult to prepare for. Bernie explained that Shakur's calm and controlled style often causes opponents to underestimate his threat, mistaking composure for weakness. In reality, Shakur reads his opponent constantly and capitalizes on mistakes the moment they appear. This mix of patience, timing, and discipline gives him a strong advantage against someone like Teofimo Lopez, who faces a fighter that is not only talented but also extremely focused on executing his plan.
But he couldn't beat a one-handed guy. And if you go back and watch that fight, like I'm saying, Shakur wasn't just running. Jermaine Ortiz really moved a lot on Teo. That never happened with Shakur Stevenson and fighting this guy. That never happened. You know, so De Los Santos is De Los Santos. You know, he got a reputation off of that. That boosted his reputation. I don't know why. He didn't do nothing to Shakur. He didn't wobble him, didn't hurt him, didn't do nothing. You know what I mean? And the man was one-handed. So, but shout out to De Los Santos. Like I say, I think he's more risk than reward. Actually, That'll be a great fight for Abdullah Mason in his first title defense. That'll be a great fight for him in his title defense. That'll be a good. They should use him for that
instead of Joe Cordina.
Yeah, Joe Cordina was rough too, though. I watched him against the kid from Fresno. What's the kid's name? I forget his name. They was pushing him, but he just ain't there. He took a lot of punishment. He probably need to go get a job. Gabriel Flores. Gabe Flores. Yeah, Gabe Flores. Yeah. He from Fresno, or he from Sacramento. He from the Bay Area.
He just be training. Yeah, he be training.
Yeah. So I would say I would say that, you know what I mean? Because Abdullah Mason is the guy. You know, I think he got a lot of potential. And like I said, him fighting a guy like De Los Santos is almost like a Bud fighting Gamboa in his first title defense. You know what I mean? So that would be a great fight for Abdullah Mason. You know what I mean? And he's more known than Joe Cordina. You know what I mean? And given the controversy that he's been in, you know what I'm saying? The way he's perceived as kind of feared, that'll be a great fight for Abdullah Mason.
Damn, my boy Bernie said that's like Gamboa versus Crawford for his first title defense.
Crawford also addressed the idea that some viewers consider Shakur boring, saying that such opinions overlook the depth of his skill. He explained that Shakur's control of a fight is subtle but extremely effective. Shakur makes smart decisions that limit risk while creating opportunities to exploit mistakes. Crawford pointed out that true boxing fans recognize the intelligence behind Shakur's style, which is built on precision, defense, timing, and controlled aggression rather than flashy movements or constant knockouts. He believes anyone who dismisses Shakur is failing to see the full picture.
Are you saying that because that's your man and you don't like Tank?
No. Hey, like I said, I respect Tank. Boxing, he's one of the ones.
Yeah.
We're gonna take his personality and personal things out of it. But boxing, he's definitely talented. You know what I mean? And he's definitely got that it. And he's definitely respected in boxing. But Shakur is a different fighter. You know, Shakur is different. You know, people may call him boring. People may say he can't punch. But they said the same thing about Floyd. Because they did.
Shane Mosley added his thoughts by focusing on how fighting styles will shape the outcome. Mosley explained that the interaction between power, speed, patience, and timing will ultimately determine who takes control. He noted that Shakur's patience allows him to neutralize aggressive fighters, while Teofimo's explosive power and speed can threaten even the calmest opponents. Mosley emphasized that the result will depend on how well each fighter can impose their strategy while adjusting to the other's strengths, making the bout a true test of skill and tactical intelligence.
Moving up in weight or not, where Teofimo can hit him. Maybe he was really fast at 130, 26-30, maybe 35, but 40, you put on a little bit more weight. Shakur Stevenson has a very strong style where he can sit back and pot shot you and box and stuff like that, where Teofimo can also box and is very athletic and can get from side to side and can make things difficult for you as well. So what style is going to impose on the other is what we want to see.
So which style will impose? Is it something where like the first rounds really will dictate, or?
I think you're going to need a couple of rounds, but the first round is going to be very interesting. Maybe you see some tails, but I think maybe 2 or 3 you're going to start seeing one leave the other. Because I don't think that, maybe, I mean, Shakur might show some different, if he has to go after Teofimo, he might show some different type of heart that we haven't seen or different type of fighting we haven't seen. And vice versa, you know, whereas Teofimo's hitting him with different shots off the angle that is kind of giving, Shakur Stevenson trouble. We'll see about that.
Boxing analyst Wade looked at the matchup through the lens of preparation and study. He suggested that both Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson have spent years observing each other's development through amateur and professional levels. This familiarity means that small adjustments and in-fight changes will be crucial. Wade explained that both fighters have the technical ability to execute complex strategies, making anticipation, reaction, and adaptation key factors. As a result, the fight becomes a strategic battle where minor decisions and split-second reactions could determine the winner.
There's probably not guys that know how they operate better. So if Teo is saying, I'm going to go out there and make you quit, essentially break you and stop you, that's something we haven't seen anyone get close to even hurting Shakur, really. Like, people say the Williams-Zepeda fight, Zepeda hit him with the right hand and Shakur got wobbled, even though it was clearly slipped. I thought that was one of Shakur's better performances because he dug down and bit down on his mouthpiece and said, I'm not just going to play the back foot and be slick and turn this into a very low output fight that I'll win because I'm just, he's better than Zepeda. But he went out there and dogged it out a little bit, and I respected him for it. I don't expect him to fight the same way versus Teofimo Lopez. I really don't. And I think people are looking at the Zepeda fight and going, yeah, that's Shakur we want. And I don't want to say he's going to disappoint people, but he will not fight that way with Teo. He won't. And Teo won't fight the same way Williams-Zepeda did. They'll both be very measured. I think it'll be a very slow-paced, low-output fight. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could see maybe they go to war or something, but we're talking about styles making fights. And Teo's style, even if he's on his front foot, he doesn't commit to a lot of punches on the front foot, but he can fight that way. Shakur almost exclusively wants to go defense to offense versus leading the exchange. So I don't know. Not to say Shakur will be on the back foot the whole time. That's not necessarily how I see the fight going, but I don't know if this is going to be like a knockdown, drag him out type of thing. I think we're going to get a defensive, sweet science display from both guys, which, by the way, I think works in Shakur's favor.
You said on there that Terence Crawford sent one of his little guys to come after you, implying that...
Lamont Roach praised Shakur Stevenson's command of the ring, highlighting his footwork, timing, and ability to anticipate opponents' movements. Roach explained that controlling the ring is about more than movement alone. It involves creating angles, maintaining balance, and guiding opponents into uncomfortable positions. Shakur's mastery of these elements allows him to conserve energy while forcing others to work harder. By controlling space and timing, he can apply pressure to fighters like Teofimo Lopez without overextending, showing why he is viewed as one of the most tactically advanced boxers today.
Some people thought he lost to Sando Martin. Who else?
He did beat Loma, who's arguably at the time considered one of the best in the world.
He did, and that was a hell of a performance too. A hell of a performance too. So yeah, I mean, I think he's hit or miss. You got to think he got stuff. He a little cuckoo too. Like he has like a little mental lapses every once in a while. Look at the Kambosos fight. Like, that's a fight that people would never expect Kambosos to win, and he won a grueling match against him as well. So I just I don't know. I don't think he can get it done against Shakur when it comes to like because it's going to be just a skill match. I don't think he's going to try to.
Paulie Malignaggi shared insight into how Teofimo Lopez is often perceived before major fights. He explained that Teofimo frequently receives criticism and is sometimes underestimated, especially when facing a high-profile opponent like Shakur Stevenson. Malignaggi noted that media narratives and public expectations can influence perception but do not reflect Teofimo's true ability. Instead, this dynamic adds mental pressure to both fighters. With high stakes, technical skill, and psychological intensity all involved, the fight becomes not just a physical contest but also a mental one where preparation, confidence, and resilience will matter greatly.
Because Teofimo is at his most dangerous when he's counted out. And this is going to be one of those fights where he's going to be counted out. Because Shakur is looked at by and large as the guy who can dominate boxing in this generation, right? It's just a matter of him getting the opportunity. I myself have felt that he's the guy who could and should be dominating boxing if he gets the right matchups. But bro, this is one of the rare matchups, if not maybe the only matchup, where I feel like is a big threat here to Shakur. And then it would all come undone only because of this reason. Teofimo Lopez, we've seen him at his best, but he typically brings out his best characteristics when he's back against the wall and he's counted out. And he's going to be counted out in this fight. By and large, people are going to side with Shakur in this fight to win the fight because he's the more consistent fighter, he's the more class fighter overall, and he's just so...
That brings us to the end of today's video. Stay tuned for more updates. Until next time.